Welcome to World of Braiding. My name is Joy Fido, and today we're going to do something as usual a bit interesting, exciting, to make you learn and know more into the natural hair industry. So, World of Braiding and extensions, what do we represent? We represent professional, healthy hair glamour, and we're talking natural hair and extensions. So we know we've been giving you as much skill as possible. The whole idea, especially from our business school, is to empower you to have the skill that you can use to go and generate your own income. And today is another exciting topic. We're going to take you through what we call the 101, the basic of cornrows. And that's because we've been getting lots and lots of inquiries. We have taken it for granted and we just take you straight on to the advanced stages. But today we're coming backwards and taking you from the very beginning of how to create the cornrows. So why the cornrows? Cornrows is one of the most versatile of all the natural hair techniques. Now, cornrows can be done on all hair types, so that's where we're coming from. We're going to create these cornrows, giving you hints and tips on how to create cornrows on all hair types. So normally in this training we start by telling you what we're talking about. So what is cornrow? Cornrow is basically interweaving. We're taking strands of hair and we're putting them through each other. But the unique thing about the cornrow is we're doing that interweaving of strands on a track. And the track is what makes the big difference between the single plaits and the cornrows. So you're taking strands of hair and you're following a track that you have created. And that's what we call it, a predetermined track. So creativity comes in a lot and uniqueness comes in, and you can do so much with the cornrows. And we're going to give you hints and tips about that. But today we're going to work with the training head. Usually we encourage you to start with the training head because this is where you're going to do all your practice on. And so the sooner you get used to the training head, the easier it becomes. So that when you work with clients, you would know that you've been able to achieve something first from a training head before you go and make mistakes on clients. If you look at here, all the way across to that side, that's what we call the hairline. So this is the hairline. And then when you turn the head back and you look at from here to here, that's the nape. So you can see, especially the all back, which is what we're going to create, you want this little nape to be able to contain all the hair that comes from the hairline. And that's why it's very important that you create a straight section to guide you from the very beginning of the hairline to the end, which is the nape. Now what then happens is when you're creating your all back cornrow, which is the most popular for the cornrow techniques, you want to be able to get all the hair coming from the hairline to the nape, completely into the nape. Now what happens is people who are not aware of this, what they tend to do is they tend to allow the hair just sit behind the ears. So I want you to start being curious now, from now onwards after watching this. Start looking at anyone wearing cornrows and see how well designed that cornrow was done. When you've done a good job, all the cornrow will be at the back. And when you haven't, some of them will just end up behind the ears. What I mean behind the ears is just somewhere hanging there instead of coming all the way down here. Okay, so we've got the hair ready. I've created the section. So now we're ready to start with our cornrow. Now watch what I've got. So I've got this center and this is the half, and the same on the other side. So once you've created something on this side, normally you will repeat the same thing on that side. So you have like a mirror effect. And if you want to be as creative as you want, that's fine. But generally when you want to get the all back cornrow, this is what you do. Now remember that the cornrow, it's quite popular among all races. I want you to pick that up really easily because it's one of the easiest techniques to create. It's one of the most versatile. There's really little time spent on cornrows. It's not like the single plaits that takes so long to finish. This one, 1 hour, 2 hours, you've been able to do it. And it's not that heavy handed on the hairline as well, depending on how good you are with them. So again, when you come here for training, these are some of the things we'll really guide you through. We've had people who did just cornrows and set up a business with it, and I'll explain why. There was a unique case. This lady, she was Asian, and once she finished picking up the cornrow technique, she had all the young girls who were going for weddings, and they just wanted a few strands of cornrows. You could glamorize a hairline with just 2 strands, 3 strands. Celebrities do that a lot, and that is just a unique way of making the hair look different. And that's what she was doing, and she had so much business she had to set up. So when people come here, we tell you each technique we teach you could set you up in business. They think we're just talking. We know what we talk about. So that's what happens. If you get good at this, you can also take it to events like children's events and give them a few lines of cornrows in between with different colors of extensions, and you got something going there. We do it a lot, so we know exactly what we're talking about. And most times you charge between, sometimes £5. If you're in the UK, you could do different similar things in the US or any other country where you're based. We had a student who did that in Slovakia, and she had a whole school ask her to come and work with their young ones. So there's so much you can do with cornrows. Okay, enough about the business side, so let's get on with this. So look at the amount of hair I've created. And so once you've done that section, look at the ear. So you make sure the ear is working with you. So you go exactly round the way the ear is. Because lots of people think that when you say all back and straight cornrow, it's just a straight line. Unfortunately, the human head is not a square, so it cannot be a straight line. It's actually curves around the ear. Okay? So when you come down, this is where it changes. Remember we talked about the hairline and the nape. You see that? So what I've done here, I've created a really, really small section right here. And that's the trick to making sure that the whole hair sits in the nape. So remember that this particular technique of working with the cornrows, we have created a DVD for this. So I'm just giving you hints and tips on this. What you need to do is order that DVD, and you will be very, very, very clear. It's so detailed, no one's ever complained about this. So I'm just guiding you through this. So your section has gone like that, and you use just a little nape, and that's what's going to help you take all this hair all the way to the back. And that DVD is very clear on that. This is where the spray bottle comes in. For Caucasian hair, you must spray the base, just the base. Not necessarily the whole strand, just the base of the hair. And you spray it. Now what that does, it helps you have good grip on this strand of hair. Because most times when you're working with Caucasian hair, the hair is so light, it just flies away from you. And that's why I hear people say to me all the time, it's so hard to braid Caucasian hair. This is your trick here today. You picked it up. Just a hint of water, and that's it. Okay? So now this is where the cornrow starts. Remember to create a simple, very thin line from the beginning of the strand. Why do we have that line? Because this is what's going to help you pick the strand of hair and create your cornrows. You see lots of people who have cornrow and they drag it really way back. That's what's causing the hairline damage in most cases, especially people who wear lots of weaves. Once you've created the cornrow and you drag this so much, it starts breaking the hairline. But if you allow the hairline to sit exactly where it belongs, which is the thin section, get the hairline, and you start your braiding. Now I'm not gonna go into details about what fingers picks what strands of hair. I want you to get this by making sure you order your DVD to get more information. So you take little strands of hair and you start putting them in your fingers. And make sure you neatly clear any hair you're not working with. So each time you stop, you pick some strands, now really small strands. Don't pick a lot, and you just add them into your fingers. Just little strands of hair. Okay, so you carried on picking the strands as you were going along, and keep picking it until you get to the end of the track. Remember, all of this is what we call the track. So you walk all the way to the end of the track and carry on as if you're still picking strands of cornrows until about what we call the notches or the stitches. So you see, each of this section is a stitch. So once you've got about 4 stitches after the end of that track, that's when you turn your hands and drop the normal single plaits drop. All this may sound a bit exhausting if you're not used to this, but if you're into this already, this will be a lot easier to connect with what you already know. So if you don't know this, you know just what to do. Order the DVD and just get it from the very beginning to the end. It teaches you everything you need to know. And that's one strand. I'm going to create another strand just to give you more guidance in case you miss something out of the first one. So remember how we said to create this section. So you see, that is the tail side of the comb that I prefer using on the longer track. So it goes like that, and the comb is just picking the strands of hair that you don't want. So anything the comb picks, you section them apart and carry on doing the same thing. And remember, once you get to the nape, which is where our main focus is in the all back cornrow, see that? Then you make that section really thin. This is a very important part of cornrows because I've had lots of my students really excited once they discover this little trick. See, so that's the trick to it. Really small nape, regular size hairline. So once you've got that, you clip away what you don't want to work with. It's important you remember to have lots of clips when you're working with cornrows, because the minute you don't clip anything, remember you're going to be working on a track. The finger just thinks that anything available is for it to use, and so it's going to just pick everything it sees. And if your hand is on a track, the only way out of this is you're going to let go and start all over again. So it's best for you to make sure you clearly note to yourself what you don't need and what you need. And remember that little section to start again. So we're ready to pick our strands. So again, we get started, get the strands ready, and we start picking. And then each time you stop, you add a little hair from the track. You add a little hair from the track. Add a little hair. You add a little hair. Now remember, cornrows are very popular among children. So when a mom is fed up with her child's hair being all over the place, not tamed, the first thing she's thinking of is, how can I just get this hair into cornrows? So this is why cornrow is one of the most popular courses for mothers. And then it's also very popular among men, because again, when men want to have creative hairstyles, what they're thinking of is cornrows, not single plaits. And this is why we're so proud of cornrows, because it's very versatile. It's good for all ages, it's good for all sexes, it's good for all races, and it's very creative. So you remember, I've got to the end again, I've done 3 or 4 notches or stitches, and then I've turned my hand and I've finished it off. So cornrows is one of those courses we offer in our introduction to hair braiding courses. And next thing is for you to also learn how to add extensions to it. So that's next part of the introduction to hair braiding, and then the single plaits and how to add extensions. And lots of people finish those 4 and they set up their business very well with those 4. So you see that your ability to create this on all hair types is a unique skill that is yours for life, and you can be as creative as you want to be. So as usual, I say to people, go into Google and just search creative cornrows, and you're going to see so many images of how creative people can be with cornrows. So that's something that you have, and that's something you can make amazing things with. And you know where it goes. It brings money into your pocket, and that's where we are very, very keen on. We want people to use the skill in their hands to find the money they want. Okay, so we've shown you 2 strands of how to work with the cornrows natural hair. Remember what we've said, you can use this on children, on men, on every race, and get amazing glamorous designs from it. Now sometimes you have clients hair really short and they want to have hair that's long, and you know they don't want to wait forever. You know how long it takes to grow hair. So extensions is your solution for that. And when it comes to extension, we work so much with them because we love extensions. That's why we call world of braiding and extensions. So when it comes to extension, there's so many types and different colors and different textures and all kinds of things going on. But especially for the cornrow, the most popular type of extension is the synthetic hair. You would not be using human hair to create cornrows with extensions. So we got our synthetic hair, and some people call them caniculon. So whatever you want to call it is fine, as long as you got your strands ready to work with your client's hair. So again, I've got to the end, and I carry on with the notches or the stitches. See that? Now the trick of doing that is it allows your cornrow to sit firmly. Is another thing that lots of people get so excited about, that aha moment. Oh, I didn't know that. So that's what it is. If you carry on a bit more, the hair sits flat. But if you immediately turn your hands at that point, then the hair bumps up. So these are all the little hints and tricks that gives you that perfect designer natural hair glamour, we call it, or natural hair beauty, or you're right to be glamorous, whichever way you want to look at it. So look at that. So you see how flat it sits there, and see how neat the sections are, and see how tight the stitches are. Because when you have a good cornrow, the stitches should be tight, and your cornrow itself should not be all wobbly and shaky. You see that? And the hair should all fit in as well. And this is another one that we've done before. This was actually done by my daughter. One of her greatest skills is cornrows. So what she done, she created this zigzag design here. So she went with the straight lines and then a zigzag, and another little straight line down there, and more straight line and zigzag, straight line, and so it just carries on all the way. And if you look at the very beginning, you see how her cornrow starts right from the beginning, even with the tiniest of strands. So those are the tricks, those are the things you want to look out for when you want to perfect your cornrow. Make sure you're starting right from the beginning. Make sure your stitches are really close. Look at that. And your cornrow is not actually wobbly on the track. It sits well. And this was the thing we were talking about. The nape. You see how every strand is sitting well on the nape. They're not hiding. Some people end up hiding them in between because they couldn't take it all the way to the nape. All of these strands are sitting comfortably at the nape, and flatly too. They're not sitting high up. And she just created a bit of a fishtail plait at the end. So these are all creative things you can do with your cornrow. And when you order that DVD, it gives you everything you need to know. So thank you for watching our video, and thank you for all your questions, asking different things, which helps us to also guide you on what to do and what you're actually looking to understand. So keep sending the messages and emails and everything. We are happy to respond to you, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video, where we again talk about something unique, something that you are asking for, something that we know is of value to you. And we want you to please remember to use these skills to create the income you want. We don't want you to have a skill and just hide it away. Use your skill to create something, and stop looking for jobs, because you got jobs in your hands already. Thank you.